Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here with another neat review. Today I got for you a racer. This is the Eachine Falcon 180. Eachine Falcon 180 racer. Now this one comes in three different versions. It has an ACE32. What I got is I got the Seriously Pro Racing F3 controller. That's the one that I wanted to use, and that's the one that I got. Now a little thing about this quadcopter, if you look at it, it's a very interesting design. It has 10 to 15 degree slanted forward motors on each one of its arms. And the purpose of that is that'll give you a little oomph at takeoff, a little bit of advantage if you're racing there, a little bit of forward momentum. But with that, like that, this always has some forward motion on it while you're flying. So keep that in mind. You know, it's designed to do that. If you want to hover, you're going to have to give it some backward pull on the pitch roll stick to bring it to a hover, because it's going to be always moving forward. Let's take a closer look at this design. Here's its FPV transmitter antenna. There is no way that you can adjust it. It is screwed directly onto the base of the transmitter there, so there's no way to adjust it. This is your turn bar indicator, you know, turning left, right, forward, backward movement. It'll tell you how it does that by the way it flashes the lights. I believe green is forward movement, red is backward movement, and then it blinks left or right, whether you're going left or right. It is held in place by a simple piece of tape with the words Eachine written on this piece of tape, and it comes off very easily. So keep that in mind, folks. If you do crash this, make sure that this is still attached, because it might come off in a crash. Other things about this quadcopter, the battery in it, it's somewhat difficult to get in and out because the way it's a tight fit in there, folks, is what I'm saying. Some people like to put their battery on top. You can do that, but I like to keep my run cam attached on top, so I personally keep my battery inside its battery bay. It can get in there, it's just that it's a little bit difficult to get it in there. Big thing about this quadcopter, and you have to keep in mind, you know, this thing is advertised as a ready-to-fly quadcopter. Well, in my case, that was not true. Particularly, if you look at the USB port, this is not where it was when I got it. The flight control board was oriented so that this USB port was hidden inside there, and it was totally inaccessible. You know, there's no way that you could use clean flight on it to adjust the parameters on this. And with most racers, most racer pilots like to fiddle around with the PIDs and that. So that was a big deal. To get this here, I had to disassemble this quadcopter to get access to the flight control board, so I could unscrew it and turn it 90 degrees clockwise so it's visible on the left side. So keep that in mind, folks. If you get one of these, there is a possibility that you are going to need to disassemble your quadcopter to get it to fly. Additionally, when I looked at the parameters in CleanFlight, it had CleanFlight 1-12-0 installed on the SPR F3 board. But nothing was assigned to the aux channels. So in terms of being ready to fly, if I would have put a battery and gone out flying, I'm not sure what would have happened when I took off with this, because I was able to arm it with the motors and actually get the motors spinning, but nothing seemed to matter with whatever switches I turned here. In fact, the transmitter itself was mapped to this for controlling the flight modes. Why would they attach it to one of the rotating knobs? I don't know. But again, this wouldn't have been effective anyways, as nothing was actually mapped on the CleanFlight, on the flight control board. So I had to go in there and do that. Two other things I want to talk about this. It's diversity antennas. It's dual antenna system here. They were installed right next to each other. What was the good of that? These are supposed to be 90 degrees out, so I had to take that when I had it apart and reposition the antennas to get that 90 degree separation so that the diversity antennas would work. And finally, if you notice, there's an unattached cable here, and there's 3 more unattached cables. I think they were, where are they at? They're green, blue, and yellow, I believe, unattached cables. Well, they're supposed to be unattached, because on the other side of those cables, they weren't attached to the flight control board anyways, or anything in there in the quadcopter. So when you have this quadcopter apart, you might consider removing those unattached cables if you do have unattached cables on yours, which I did on mine. So that's about it, folks. I think we're about to go into ready for a flight here. I haven't talked about the, before we do, let's talk about the transmitter. The transmitter comes with a ready, well, I just cringe when I say ready to fly. This is not a ready to fly quadcopter. But the transmitter that comes with it is the Eachine i6, which is a rebranded version of the FlySky i6, as you can see here. The way I mapped it out, I got switch C set here for angle mode set, and I mapped it out in clean flight, that center one for horizon mode, and the bottom one down here, for the heck of it, I put in headless mode. So we'll see if that actually works. The other switches I don't have assigned yet. And again, I had to go into Eachine i6, and the way to do that with these, since they are locked, you can still get into the menu, but you have to pull in both of these trim buttons inboard while turning on the turning on the transmitter, and then you can access the menus by holding down the OK button. So if you want to map out the failsafe, which I needed to do on this one here, and also assign these switches here instead of the rotating knob. And I think this switch here was set as the two primary control knobs. I don't know what they were thinking there either. So again, this is not a ready to fly, even though it's advertised. At least mine was not ready to fly. So let's go into the flight of the Falcon from Eachine, the 180 Falcon, and see how it performs. Hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, I have all switches up on my Eachine i6, turning on the transmitter, and plugging in the quadcopter. Now be careful with these wires, make sure they're clear of the propellers, and I like to take this balance plug and put it in the center between the power wire, so that stays in there also, because that might run into these propellers also. And that's firing up. Let me double check my receiver here. And I have reception, and I am recording with my little screen there. We're going to go for a little 4-minute flight for starting out. Let me unlock it. Starting my timer. And we have power. Let's take to the air, and I'll show you what happens when... Whoa! What was that about? No, I got the props on right. Pretty sure I do. Unlock again. They are spinning in the right direction. I don't know what's going on, folks. Unlocking again. Let's pull backward this time. Well, something is not right. One more try. Actually, I'm afraid to try it. Should not be doing that. Let me take off the camera, just in case it's the camera weight on top. But I doubt that that would be doing that. Camera's coming off. Turning off that camera. Double check, triple checking that my propellers are oriented correctly. Inboard. Everything's sweeping inboard. Not sure what's going on here, folks. Unlocking. That's it. I ain't doing it anymore. So, that's the first flight of the Eachine Falcon 180. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to include this video on RC groups. Maybe one of you guys can help me there. But I don't know why this thing's flipping upside down when it's taking off. Looking at the propellers, they're installed properly. They should be installed properly. So your help would be greatly appreciated. Okay, Quadcopter 101 signing out. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here on a very breezy morning. but that's not going to stop me from flying. Whoa, we're going up to 12 mile per hour here, some of it. What I got for you today is a continuation of my Eachine flight. This is my Eachine Falcon 180. As you saw in my last flight, it flipped over. What I've discovered is that because I had turned this board 90 degrees, I need to tell this via clean flight that board was turned 90 degrees, so it knows the new front is its left side now. So I updated it via clean flight. I'll include links below to show how to do it. Also, I got some updated PIDs off of RC groups to show, to get this thing to hover. I could not get this to hover even after I turned that board. It was very unsteady, but with new PIDs, I was able to get this to hover. One comment on this is not ready to fly by any shape or means or any conception, even though it says ready to fly. You get one of these, this Eachine Falcon, you are going to need to do a lot of updates to it to get it into the air for its first flight. It's just not possible the way it is coming out of the factory right now. It's not ready to fly. So let's go for a flight of the Eachine Falcon 180 and see how it performs. Hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, let's see how the Eachine Falcon performs in 8 to 12 mile per hour wind. Turning on the transmitter. And I have all my cameras turned on. I checked the clearance of the props. So we should be good to go here. I hope this wind isn't making too much noise in the microphone, but oh well. Okay, unlocking. We should be unlocked. Let's get it into the air. Okay, it's flying. Let's see if we can get close to us. Whoa, look at that wind there. Hold on, folks, there's a big blast of wind coming here. He's flying in it. Okay. So, in effect, you really need to tune this thing up to get it to fly properly. It took a lot of tuning, a lot more than I would have enjoyed doing. Let's get just showing it to you here, hovering here. Even now it's a little bit glitchy. You know, these are just the first PIDs that I got. Thanks to RC Groups, I forgot the fellow's name, but I will include a link to his post showing his PIDs that he used. But let's turn this thing around. Bring it back to me, upwind. I gotta drop it. That wind was really pulling it away from me. I hope it didn't break, but we'll find out how well it can withstand crashes. Yeah, I'm crazy flying on a windy day like today, but I really wanted to see this, if this thing could fly, and it could fly. Well, its first crash, its landing gear came off. So that landing gear on this isn't very strong. Keep that in mind, folks. You probably want to take that off. I don't know. Let me see if I can find that landing gear. Well, I found the landing gear. The thing is, I can't access the screws to get them back in right now. So that's the end of that flight. But we know it flies. It can survive a crash. The props look still usable. I don't see any other damage to this other than the landing gear. So that was the first flight of the Eachine 180. I'm going to have to get this landing gear reattached, and after which we'll go for another flight with it. Well, the wind's died down here greatly in just a half hour to an hour. So we're going to give this another shot. I took 2 of the landing gear off. I'm using a clump of dirt as a landing pad to hold it level for takeoff. I really want to fly this thing, folks. We're going to do it no matter what. But yeah, these landing gear on these are really flimsy. That needs to be redesigned or people coming up with other means of holding this quadcopter. I also took off the turn bar. I don't use that turn bar anyways, so. Okay, transmitter's on. Plugging in the cables, double checking my battery though after that last impact there. I want to make sure it's still centered. Okay, putting it back on the clump of dirt. Just level it, semi-level it. Plugging in the battery. Battery's plugged in. Camera's recording. Unlocking. We should be good to go. Flying a little bit unsteady with the two legs, but it is flying. There we go. The Falcon. Yeah, this thing needs a lot of work to get it into the air, as you've seen. But it'll eventually fly. Again, this is not for beginners. It's not for people who like ready to fly. This is by no means ready to fly. It required a lot of work to just get it to fly. So, again, it's probably more hobbyists would like this than true, than people that just want to fly. Would be disappointed with it. Letting the wind blow it by me. It's flying backwards right now. There, it's slowing down. I want to show it to you, that's why. But see, yeah, it'll fly. 2 legs and all. But yeah, it required a heck of a lot of playing with PIDs, configuring it, redesigning it. It's like Eachine took this. Let's give it a punch. Not a lot of punch too. It's kind of heavy, particularly with that camera attached. But it's like Eachine took a bunch of parts, threw them together, and said, "Here, you guys figure it out." So if you're the kind of guy that likes to figure it out and likes to tinker, this is the quadcopter for you. If you're not, I'd skip this one. So, but finally it's flying. And I'm flying it because I'm not the kind of guy that likes to tinker, so I don't plan on tinkering with it much longer. There it goes. Eachine 150. Yeah, that camera's probably a little too heavy for this little quadcopter on top of it there. I can tell you that. I have the run cam on top. Get in the back, overhead. Again, we are at a place called Spangler Hills. I know I've been getting a lot of comments saying, fly somewhere different. Okay, sure. I got a lot of places to fly. This area here is famous for those of you that ride dirt bikes. You've probably heard of this place. But this area is just filled with dirt bike trails all over. And people come here to camp where I'm at right now, this dry lake bed here. And then they ride their dirt bikes out here, and this serves as their home base. And it's a Friday, so I'm trying to get this in before Saturday because this place is going to fill up here shortly. Okay, I'm getting a feel for this thing right now, by the way. It's getting a little more enjoyable now, even with those PIDs. Two-legged monster. Okay, I'm done about it. I'm done. I'm thinking that battery's probably getting done. And yes, that battery is done. There we go. It doesn't give you much warning, folks. It'll just drop when that battery goes kaput. So keep that in mind. I'll include the total flight time for Flight 1 and Flight 2 on the screen here. Let me make sure I got my camera. My good old run cam camera's been through lots and lots of crashes. I highly recommend that camera, by the way, folks. My Mobius on my hat and my run cam camera. I just never get enough use out of that. I think I might have lost another wheel or another leg. I don't see it. I'm not going to look too hard for it either. That's the flight. I give up on this now. So, again, yeah, there we go. Stopping the video. The Eachine Falcon. 150 or 180. 180, yeah. I'm sorry, I was just flying a Rodeo 150, which is pretty dang cool, by the way, from Wakira. But I'm going to look around here for the other leg, but again, this is a quadcopter that it's for tinkerers. It's for true hobbyists who enjoy fiddling with components and fiddling with the software like CleanFlight to get it into the air. It required a lot for me to get this into the air. So hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101 signing out.